States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Yes, Mayor Pro Tempore, quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, and Housing Authority.
Thank you. Members of the public may listen and make oral public comments telephonically by dialing. The dial-in for open session is 1-888-251-2949 or 215-861-0694, using the specific access codes detailed below for the prospective city council dates. So January 24th, the access code is 816-1815 #. You wait 3 seconds and press pound again. That being said, we will open public comments now. Operator, do we have any callers?
There are no callers in queue at this time.
Thank you. We'll go over to the library lecture hall.
Is this Mayor Morales? Did the mayor get indicted? Okay, never mind.
Go ahead and get started.
How you doing, Councilman? We've always been I've never said any bad things about you. Come on, stop playing. 1 minute. I got 3. I can do magical in 2.
Sir, is there an agenda item,
I was
please?
talking to the crowd. I have to please them. Oh, y'all keep rejecting my claims towards this city. I have some documents that have been on request for 3 years from the police department, and you guys keep playing with me. I'm not gonna keep doing this. Let's see. I have a problem with a retroactive approval for a lobbyist. You can't, even corporate America, who does a retroactive contract? I don't understand that one. Let's see. Your usual stealings on here. Oh, how you guys are paying $2 million for an art project that hasn't even been, for the Inglewood Transit Connector that hasn't been started. Now, you're gonna say it's only $200,000, but I love reading. I'm educated. It's part of a phase stealing of $2 million. So who you paying? Who you giving a check to for a transit connector that doesn't exist? You are some thieving MFers. I love it. Y'all keep telling yourselves in these public documents. Real cute hairstyles. Ooh, like that ponytail. With that being said, I got about it. See, I told you I can work. Oh, the police department. Who's running that asylum? I heard Finorata, he's over there in the hospital, but apparently...
Sir, if you could just stay with an agenda item,
Oh,
or
we're
we
talking
have to
about-
cut you
We're
off.
talking about you guys...
Yeah, but it's not pertinent
leasing
subject
a
to the
retail
agenda item.
space over there at Hollywood Park for $1. But you got to reimburse Hollywood Park like $250,000. So, but what I notice is it's going to stop all people getting their butts kicked and murdered over there at SoFi, because we don't need that. You give the $200,000 back to the people. Because what that $200,000 look like is another trophy piece for the mayor to go around in his tight little small suit.
Sir, again,
and said he built a
if-
substation. But
Agenda items
you know,
only,
one second,
sir.
I told you stop playing with me. I'll give you that 30.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers? Emery, do we have anyone else?
No other speaker.
Thank you. Public comment is closed. Madam Clerk, item number 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register?
Payment.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Council members, Successor Agency member?
Oh, 1 second.
Anybody on the phone?
Oh, we did that first. There was no callers in the queue. Yeah, go right ahead, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Council members, Successor Agency members, and Housing Authority members, Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Fogg. Aye. Mayor Chairman Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. Thank you. Madam Clerk, what is the next scheduled matter?
Yes, Mayor Pro Temp. The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider introduction of an ordinance approving zoning code amendment 2022-005 to modify miscellaneous regulations in Chapter 12 of the Inglewood Municipal Code related to residential accessory structures, downtown Inglewood Development Standard, consistency, cosmetology, school liquor stores, state code references, signage regulations, consistency, and floor area definitions citywide.
Has notice of this hearing been given in the time, form, and manner as required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor Pro Temp, notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on this matter?
At this time, no communications have been received.
Is there a staff report on this matter?
Yes, Mr. Christopher Jackson, Economic and Community Development Director, will give a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. As already has been stated, we have before us a zoning code amendment that addresses many of the miscellaneous items. One of the things that staff has been doing, the planning staff in particular, over the course of the last several years is identifying areas within the code that need to be updated, modified, some even need to be taken away and reduced so that we can create, clarity to the public about the various development proposals that are coming, both residential and commercial. I have also in attendance here my staff, planning manager Minnie Wilcox and senior planner Bernard McCrumbie as well, if there's any detailed questions that they'll be able to assist in. The Planning Commission on December 7th, 2022, approved resolution number 1944. And during that time, they looked at all of the modifications that you're considering today. And they had a robust discussion. As you know, the Planning Commission has a lot of discussion about the various aspects of it. So we whittled down those issues and talked about how to best present this to you in terms of changes to the code. There was also public input that happened at that, and then also a recommendation of a CEQA exemption based upon staff's information provided to the commission. So I'm going to quickly go through each one of these just for public consumption. First one is residential accessory structures. City manager and I, ironically, had a really detailed discussion about this particular matter. I want to make sure, and we added within the presentation that accessory structures are not accessory dwelling units. So we have to say that a couple of times. Accessory structure are like a little pool room, a man cave, or, so many different variations of things that happen on residential property over time. All of you are familiar with that. As opposed to an accessory dwelling unit, which is actually a unit to be occupied for habitation. So one of the things that we discussed was, as a result of the short-term rental ordinance, there were a number of individuals who wanted to be able to use their accessory structures for short-term rental. The problem with that is that in order for that to happen, you need to have bathing facilities. I think we all agree having full bathing facilities makes sense. So we considered that, talked about that, presented before the Planning Commission, and there was a determination made that adding the full bathroom to the accessory structure would allow for our residents to have that opportunity for short-term rental, which of course this council has facilitated through the ordinance. We would change the code so it could be used for sleeping purposes, and then we would allow it to be used as a short-term rental as a result of these modifications. It would cover there would be a covenant on the properties that said you could not use it as a unit, but it could be used towards short-term rental. So secondarily, we talked about cosmetology schools. We have a lot of beauty and hair salons, and over the years, many of you have seen that. We've talked about it many times at the Planning Commission level and at City Council. And one of the things that we discovered is we allow in our downtown area trade schools, and subject to a special use permit. And one of the schools several of the schools that we're looking to locate in Inglewood because of our burgeoning, if you will, beauty community, they want to locate, but then because it was in the downtown area, they could not sell the services. Well, many of the platforms that they operate, these schools, they use that to help augment tuition for the school. So the students actually do it, and they get money for it, and that helps pay for their tuition. So we went back and forth that over a number of years, actually, and we finally got to the point where we understood how their programs work. And so the recommendation is to allow, it would maintain the schools being subject to a special use permit. It would allow the beauty and barbering services as part of the curriculum to be accepted within the curriculum, and that then allows the schools to be able to be successful. Our downtown Inglewood development standards, obviously, we just adopted these recently within the last few years. And one of the things that we discover, and I think one of the things that my staff has always indicated, is that these documents are living documents, which means you discover things over time. And in this particular case, we realized that we needed to make it very clear to the public that outdoor dining and live-work regulations do apply to the downtown area. So we're modifying the standards so that it's very clear that outdoor dining and live-work is part of the permitted uses within our downtown TOD area. Our liquor store state code reference throughout, I mean, one of the things when I took over leadership, I looked at the code and how user-friendly it was, and as many of you have looked at it, you called me, say, I don't understand this. We're trying to simplify it and make it easy for the public to be able to navigate through it without necessarily being a paid individual, which are supposed to understand it, but just your mom and pops and small business owners. One of the things is we have a number of places in the code where we identify state codes. And as you know, the state's been very active at the state level of changing things. And while that particular reference may have been great at the time the ordinance change was done, what we've discovered is that sometimes those statutes change. And if our code doesn't change, then we find ourselves with an inconsistency. So what we would do is we're going to remove those. We're removing those with regard to liquor stores, and particularly in this area, the distance requirement for nonprofit facilities for 600 feet distance requirement, which is also part of the state, but we're just taking the reference of the state code itself out and just referencing the code section, which makes sense. Our gross floor area. I remember when I first started working here, one of the things that was confusing to me was how we had a gross floor area that was a net floor area. And so we finally got to the point, staff, on our list of corrections to identify two distinct definitions. One that's gross, which is everything, and one that's net, which is how you generally determine parking, that wonderful parking word that we deal with. So we clean that up, so it's going to be very clear for the public to be able to see that. And then signage regulation consistency, again, with the TOD. You're discovering these things. We want to make sure it's clear to the public what standards apply, and so we are making sure it's clear in the TOD that the sign code for the city of Inglewood does apply to that area. There is sign criteria, and it's actually in the sign code. So as far as public comments, you heard from the clerk that we hadn't received anything as of the printing of the report. The environmental determination, there was a notice of exemption that was done saying that the project's exempt from further environmental review. That is included in your staff report as well. And then that the actions are consistent with our general plan. Our land use element, our environmental justice element, which talks about making sure the public has access to information. And we are recommending that you can consider our staff report, take public testimony, make a determination. If you determine to adopt the code amendments, it's recommended that you affirm the categorical exemption, adopt the ordinance, and follow the standard that's laid out by the clerk and staff. That concludes staff's presentation, and we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. If we have no questions from the council, we'll receive and file your staff report.
Thank you.
I do have one comment.
Oh, you do? Go ahead, Ms. Councilwoman.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that report. It was really good and understandable for residents. Can you share with them, because you did mention the live work portion, and I don't know if our community knows exactly what you mean or how that can benefit them.
You know,
So-
that goes more to comment. I was gonna say for questions first, but if we get it, we'll open up public comment first, and then we'll go to council comments at the end. So we'll open up public comments. Operator, is there anyone in the queue?
There are no callers in the queue at this time.
No callers in the queue. We'll go to the library. As to the public hearing, we're opening up comments. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, my first question is, why does, I've been here 44 years. Inglewood does not have a homeless shelter all year round. They have one from November to February for the cold weather, but after that, the homeless are on their own. And I just would like to know why we don't have that. The second question is to Alex Padilla, which is my congressman.
You're welcome at the end of the meeting to come into public comment and comment about that. Right now, we're doing a public hearing on some code enforcement
Okay.
changes.
Okay, well, when you announce it, I'll be back up here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, council. I wanted to know where is the information that was on the PowerPoint because we couldn't see it. And also I wanted to say that I'm not really clear about the live work space, and also if you build a man cave, it has to have a bathroom, but you can rent it. Are you still gonna regulate it like the Airbnb? So people are still gonna be having issues about the payment to the city or what it has to be. So we wanted to be more clear about that. And I also want to know why the information is not here in the library lecture hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I would like to also know how really are we supposed to go about paying our TOT taxes when you guys are only allowing 12 months? I feel like that's honestly very radical. You guys want a 15.5% tax, but you guys aren't even considering the fact that, you know, we didn't know that you guys were going to be charging 15.5% to be saving it away because you guys are 3.5% higher than LA County itself. Like, because LA City County, they actually are 12%.
Ma'am?
15.5%. Yes.
Right now, we're dealing with a public hearing. You're welcome to come back at the end of the meeting to voice your concern on that.
Okay, also with the additional dwelling units, so are we gonna be talking about that today? If we can short-term rental the additional dwelling units today? Are we
No, the only thing on the agenda is what you heard in the public hearing, which is expanding the use of an accessory unit.
Okay, but on the bottom, I also saw that you guys were considering whether you wanted to STR a ADU as well. I did see that at the bottom of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, but right now, there is no discussion as pertaining to your question.
There's no discussion about it, then why is it in the PowerPoint if we're not gonna be discussing about it today? Because it's very important.
No, you're asking about, are we going to discuss a change? And the change is not going to be discussed today. What we're dealing with today is that we are including within our rules for the accessory, the ADUs, we're including any permitted structure that was permitted before a certain time, that they would be able to add a full bathroom and use it for short-term rentals. That's the only thing we're changing, to include it within our current ordinance. We're not going to discuss the ordinance at all.
So if it's a new structure, we won't be able to STR it?
Correct, because a new structure would be considered an ADU.
See, those are the blurred lines that you guys use in order to confuse everyone when it's literally the same thing. That's disgusting. I'm sorry, that's disgusting, sir.
Thank you, miss.
There you go playing, Alex. You was mayor for like, what, 20 minutes? You lying like the mayor already. I looked at that staff report, and the staff report to me, and based upon Chris's presentation, this was to usher in Airbnb, baby. Stop playing with me. I do my homework. Y'all playing with us. Let's play. Okay, so let's talk about that little salon that's opened up in Sierra with the Ponytails district. A white Jewish man, I have no problem with racism.
Sir, Mr.
You gonna be quiet.
McCoy.
You gonna stop
No,
playing with
I'm
me?
sorry.
No, we're gonna stop that. I strike that. I strike that because it was
Thank
offensive.
you. Thank you.
I
Please
strike
get
that,
to
and I'm not
the
a
hearing.
sensitive person, but when
Start
a
his clock.
person comes in who don't even look like anybody in the community and applies for a hair salon, It's suspicious to me. It's suspicious.
Thank you.
No, you gonna stop. You gonna stop. When we talking about this public hearing, we talking about these zoning regulations because they went and applied for a special permit. So what these permits and these zoning laws do is squeezes out the little man because he doesn't have the money to make the changes. And so these big developers come in and they have these big Magic Mountain signs. And so by contrition or attrition, you better get down or lay down. We're talking street terms. You squeezing the little man out. Don't you play with me. Don't you play with me either, you coon.
Thank you. You can shut down his mic now. Okay, we'll close public comments. And closing public comments, we will now have, Emery, was there someone else? Can you pan back out?
The speakers.
You better get mad like me. You a coon. I don't talk to coons.
Okay, we're closing public comments now. As to council comments, are there any council comments? Thank you, Councilman Padilla.
Thank you for clarifying some of this. I know we've gone back and forth, as you said, for several years. Number one, with the liquor thing, whether or not it's too close to this or that. And we had to come back and revisit stuff that had been approved, 25 years ago or longer. And Inglewood has changed. So we have to come back. We have to look at some of these procedures and policies and fix them, or like you said, remove them totally, because they're just too antiquated for where we are as a city today. And so thank you for doing that. I know we have more to do, but I appreciate that. I know there's always going to be some confusion, I guess, or misunderstanding or misinterpretation of what we're doing. And that's why we always tell folks to reach out to us if you need more clarification. All of this is in the staff report. If folks want to pull it up and take a look at it, they're welcome to do that. They can always reach somebody in our offices or your office for more clarification. But the old thing about a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, because people hear something or whatever, and then they run with it, and they say it in a way that they want people to think that they are the authority. They are the ones that this is what it is and what it should be. And they have not taken into consideration so many different things that come into play. So thank you for that. The cosmetology school stuff, again, another one that keeps, popping up for us in our different districts. So again, I just want to, kudos to you and your staff for putting together the staff report, for looking to make sure that we are, moving forward as a city. Where the city's going, we're going as it relates to our policies and procedures. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman, did you have those comments? You want to take them now?
Oh, yes, I think, you know where I was going. You can-
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, one of the things, and this goes to our downtown Inglewood development standards, we have in our code live work regulations. We actually we changed the code several years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago, because there was a concern at that time that individuals had structures that they wanted to both live and work in. So we did our due diligence. We crafted an ordinance that would allow for live work. It set the standard. It also set the requirements with regard to separation between those types of uses. It also set forth what types of uses could be used in a live-work environment. Example of that would be one, you could have a live-work environment that is office, and then you can have one where they're fabricating, metal pieces. And so we put restrictions in it to make sure that it fit within the area. Now, these standards simply allow you to be able to utilize those regulations. So it doesn't create anything, it just applies to the downtown TOT area. That's all. Those standards are robust. It'd take us a whole hour and a half to go through those. So And I know if there are any questions regarding that, you certainly can reach out to me and my staff, and we'll walk the public through that process.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I just have a couple of quick comments just to clarify. So, the report is online, as Councilman Padilla said, for those who were looking for the actual PowerPoint. There's all that information, whether it be the PowerPoint or the basic information, is online.
Correct.
And then I wanted to expand a little bit on the accessory units where it was a permitted structure to begin with. Our ordinances that existed at the time those were permitted did not allow for folks to bring their playroom or whatever it is, the man cave, into a place where they could get a shower because we didn't allow it at the time. So now we're saying if you actually built one of those that was permitted during a certain amount of time, you would be allowed to add that full bathroom so that you could use it as an ADU because that law did not exist in the past. So going forward, going forward, it will not be allowed or defined as that excess structure. It will only be defined as an ADU.
No,
if there's a space, and that's where I want you to clarify.
And that's confusing. That's one of the reasons why I brought up the issue. And as I was saying, the city manager and I had a pretty robust discussion about that. These are accessory structures.
Yeah.
Take the unit out, take the dwelling out. It's an accessory structure. Now, an accessory structure back in the day was a pool room, a man cave, a breakout area. There are a number of things we classified it all. But what we did was we restricted how you could have bathroom facilities in there. So we allowed you could have a commode in there and a sink, but we wouldn't let you have a shower or a bathtub, right? Why? Because we didn't want it to become a unit. We specifically didn't want it to become a unit. As a matter of fact, in many of those, we put covenants on them and said you can't make it into a unit. Now, the commonality is the word accessory. So we have accessory structure and we have accessory dwelling unit. Here's the issue. For short-term rental, you can have, I think, and I'm not the subject matter expert in that, but I believe you can rent out your room as long as you're there year-round, right? So in this particular situation with a short-term rental, if a person is on the property in the back and they had an accessory structure, not a ADU, the ADUs don't allow you to do short-term rental.
Correct.
Period. By state statute, right? So this would allow a person who has or anticipating to have an accessory structure to be able to have a full bathroom there and take advantage of the short-term rental. That's what it allows you to do.
And that is, I wanted to thank you for that because I know it's an issue that's been going back and forth in order to address some of the mainstream questions that we had when we were passing our short-term rental ordinance. That has been quite the learning experience, but I commend you for addressing it so quickly. Because some of the other ones that you're changing, we've been talking about for years. So thank you for that. So those are my comments. And then just to add that the Live Workspace came because of our very vibrant artist community at the time, which still exists. And we want to encourage that kind of living. Since then, they've expanded and they've grown because of this ordinance. So I thank you for that. Okay, so that being said, we've received public comments. I will move 2 and 3.
Second.
Madam Clerk,
Mayor Pro Tem, can we do that individually?
the
please?
motion individual.
Yes,
So
please.
I will move item 2.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. And we'll motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. And I'll introduce. We'll move on to consent calendar. These items will be acted upon as a whole unless called upon by a council member. As to 2 through 8.
So moved.
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. Moving to DR1.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members approve an agreement with Southern California Edison for a method of service study for the ITC project.
So move.
Is that as to 1, 2, 3, and 4, Councilman?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll second that. Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. A1.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We had a closed session regarding Mouton versus City of Inglewood. As to that, the Mayor Butts was not present. The other council members were present. As to that, a status on the matter was provided to City Council, and no reportable action was taken. As to A2, there's no reports from the City Attorney's Office.
Thank you. CM1.
Yes, Councilman Pro Tem and Mayor Pro Tem and council members. I want to apologize to the residents, businesses, and any customers who attempted to call us yesterday and were unable to get through. AT&T had some issues with their phone system, which we had no involvement in, and residents were very frustrated that they couldn't get through City Hall. But we were able to fix the problem late last night, and so just wanted to explain to the community what happened yesterday.
Thank you for the explanation. I see Mr. Chambers out there who got the major heavy lifting yesterday, so thank you all for handling that. CC1.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. No comments. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will open up the Inglewood Housing Authority, H1, 1, and CS1. I believe we already acted on.
Yes, sir, we've done
So
that.
we will move on to H2.
Staff report recommending that the chairman and housing authority members approve a month-to-month lease agreement with La Erte Martins to occupy 340 square feet of office space at 243 East Queen Street, Inglewood, California, 90301.
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Housing authority members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Chairman Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. We'll adjourn the Inglewood Housing Authority. As to appointments to boards, commissions, and committee, Councilwoman Dion Falk nominates, and I appoint Ms. Lois Hale to the Parking and Traffic Commission. You move.
Second.
Move.
Move concurrence.
I move concurrence.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Aye. So now we'll move over to public comments. Operator, is there anyone in the queue?
To our attendees, please press #2 if you'd like to make a public comment. There are no comments in queue at this time.
Thank you, operator. We'll move over to the library. For public comments, you have 1 minute. Please step forward.
Okay. Yes, back to my comment about how Inglewood housing, shelter for the homeless. We only have winter shelter. We've always had winter shelter. And I would like to know when Inglewood will be getting all year round housing. The person that I spoke to, that I told you I speak to at Roger Park, the police was sent out to him and told him that he had to move. And when he moved to take some of his stuff over to the other side, they sent someone, or they did it, took all of his stuff that he had there living. But then the next time they came out was that day of the meeting, and on the 10th, I think it was. But he still haven't had anyone come to him about that. He had one housing person, but apparently they couldn't do anything. So I'm just letting you know that the police was sent out on him. Also, Padilla said last week that the monies have been audited. No, they haven't. They only do internal monitoring, the finance department. That is the way it goes. And the housing person that you told to call me did not call me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for this time. I'm a victim of homelessness, and I've been homeless for 6 years. I'm a mother, and sent my kids to college, school, and worked for 50 years, and now I'm a senior. Unfortunately, I'm not a weak senior, but I can't work because I had a surgery. Now, I can't understand why I'm on waiting lists, on all these waiting lists and all these uh, uh, people telling me that I can get housing, and I haven't heard any feedback. Something is wrong here. You know, in all my days living, I have never seen a situation like this. I think this is disgusting. I think there is something going on, and I think all the victims should get together and try to figure out what this deal is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm here to talk about the parking situation in my neighborhood. They have construction going on to make improvements, I hope, for our neighborhood, but they have the no parking signs up in my neighborhood, and sometimes the workers are not even there. There's nobody, like today, no one was there when I left this morning. And Friday, there was no one there. But we are made to feel like if we park there, because that's what the sign says, that we will be ticketed. As a matter of fact, I did get a ticket there, and that's one reason why I'm here, because the signs are not clear. They are not clear for the average citizen or the residents to understand. Where are we supposed to park to when they have no parking signs up on both sides of the streets? I don't think the city council is aware
Yeah.
of the inconvenience.
Thank you, ma'am. And obviously, there is usually, when there is work being done, obviously, there's going to be some inconvenience. But you bring up a good point that if there's no work being done, there shouldn't be any parking signs up. So if you would be so kind to give Emery here to your right, the gentleman, your name, number, and address, the Public Works Department will make contact with you, and you can let them know where the issue is, and we'll address that for you.
I appreciate that. I would like to also know if I were interested in working on the campaign for the election, how would I sign up for that?
Well, as a volunteer, you can go to the county registrar's website or call their office, the Los Angeles County Registrar's office.
All right, I wanted to endorse.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Dodson.
Don't forget to give us your information.
Hello, Council. Mr. Padilla, I wanted to mention that the 4 young people who lost their lives last year in your district, Marnisha Hamilton, Brianna Sines, Tyron and Jaden Griffin, I would like the council to close in their honor today. We haven't had any press conferences about their murders. We haven't heard anything from the city, from the state. 4 other children were murdered in another state. It's on every channel, every news station, but our children have been murdered and nobody's talking about it. We need to find out who's killing people in Inglewood. Somebody was murdered at Darby Park recently. We need to find out who's killing people in Inglewood. This is a serious situation and needs attention. You guys are talking about building all these big buildings and a transit connector. What about the humans? We need to do something about the people that are dead, the people that are laying on the street. Our neighborhood needs help. Our residents are dying, they're homeless, their children are being murdered, and you guys aren't doing nothing about it. And something needs to be said about it. It needs to be addressed. It's nice that our city is growing, but we need to do something about this crime.
Thank you, ma'am. And if you'd like to request that any resident be honored by closing their meeting, please email your council person, and they will decide whether to move forward with that and ask you whatever pertinent information moving forward. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
In regard to what the last lady just said, you guys, the only thing that you guys did with those 4 deaths was use it against us when it came to Airbnb, literally. Like, you guys literally used those 4 deaths to say that you didn't want us to become a transient city, which we already are. So I would just really like it if you guys stopped using the excuse of transiency when it comes to us making money and being able to afford this place. I received a letter today for $11,400 to pay back to the city for something you guys didn't have a moratorium for until June. So you guys use these deaths to benefit you and to benefit your policies, but like she said, you guys don't individually care about us. Like, we still live here. I have my grandma's house that I'm trying to take care of. You guys don't care about people like me, and that's a problem because my grandma slaved for this house and slaved for this community. So I need you guys to care a little bit about us. I can't even be proud of this place anymore I can't be proud of the Clipper Stadium. I can't be proud of the SoFi Stadium because you guys are literally charging us $6,000 for 2-bedroom apartments and think that we're supposed to be happy about it.
Thank
We are
you,
not
ma'am.
happy.
Thank you.
We are not happy.
Any other speakers?
How you doing, council? My cousin, April, this is actually the second week. Today makes the second week my cousin April Valentine here was murdered at Centinela Hospital by the hands of doctors and nurses, absolute neglect. And so I'm asking for an investigation that is not biased. I'm also asking for the doctor medical license to be taken away. And we also asking for Centinela Hospital to be totally reformed. She died while giving birth to her baby. She lived her life to actually have children, and she didn't get a chance to hold her only baby. This was her first and only baby that was, and her life was taken away. And they had to hurry up and do an emergency C-section because she was dead at the hands of the doctors and the nurses' absolute neglect. We're asking for a full investigation. Black women are 5 times or 4 times likely than white women to die giving birth, and it is unacceptable. And so as we have here, I know my time is up, but her daughter is crying out for help because she can't be breastfed by her mom.
Thank you,
She
sir.
can't be held by her mom, and you guys, please do something about it.
Thank you. Please receive our condolences, but the city of Inglewood has no jurisdiction over the hospital. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I know you said that the city of Inglewood has no jurisdiction, but we're asking you guys to use your influence. We've put you all in office. We've trusted you to really do something, to lead our city. We know that you're not in jurisdiction, but we know that you can do something because guess what? Your voice matters, and April voice matters. April life matters. April went in on Tuesday expecting to come out with her baby and did not come out because she was neglected. She said, my leg hurts, my leg hurts. Oh, it's nothing, because why? She was a black woman and her needs were dismissed. Her needs were neglected. She did not walk out with her baby, and she is not here to this day. Guess what, Councilwoman? April could be your daughter. April could be your niece. April could be your cousin. So we're fighting on behalf of April and so many lives that have been lost at Centinela Hospital because no one is doing anything. We need an investigation done and someone to look into the lives that are being lost at this hospital. The city of Inglewood, the Centinela Hospital is the only hospital in the city of Inglewood, and we need you to do something about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Following up on that, April was an upstanding citizen, which shouldn't matter because everybody deserves to live. She invested in this community. She's from South Central LA, but made sure to make her stake, build her family in the city of Inglewood. She really believed in the richness, in the culture, in the history, in the love, in the blackness of this city. And it's at the hands of a black organization, a black hospital that killed our cousin, our family, our friend. I know you all have heard the complaints coming out of Centinela Hospital. I don't care who it has to go through, but you all, and Mayor Butts, do not like my post on Instagram about my cousin's death and do nothing about it. Y'all may not have jurisdiction over this, it doesn't matter, but what y'all can do as a human, because we all gotta answer to somebody at the end of the day, is say something. We haven't had a statement, nothing. This is disgusting, it's egregious, and we're holding all of y'all accountable.
Thank you.
Me, honestly, personally, I was there the night when the doctors and the nurse sat there, didn't touch her, and let her die. Nobody did CPR. They put all that in my hand to have to do CPR. I had to tell the doctor what to do. Everybody froze up. It took them 4 or 5 minutes to even make it upstairs. Y'all giving me a minute to talk. If they would have responded in a minute, she would have still been here. She would have still been here. I sat there and watched 10 nurses, personally, sat there and watched 10 nurses do nothing. Didn't touch her. One of them put an oxygen mask on, didn't even turn the machine on. I just sat here and watched them just sit there and let her not breathe. Cut a baby open in the hallway and rip them out of her. I sat there and seen all that. But nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing. We begged for the doctor. We begged for doctors. 2 days. For 2 days, we begged for a fucking doctor. No doctor showed up. How is no doctor on the floor? Yo, I begged for a doctor. I
Thank
begged,
you,
I
sir.
begged. I don't give a damn about the term being up.
Thank you.
I begged. He ain't gonna touch me. I begged for a doctor. I begged for a doctor. Just like you trying to
Sir,
take me out. If you
thank
had that
you.
much,
I'm
listen,
sorry,
if y'all
we
had
have
that
to
much
keep
voice,
the
if y'all
quorum.
had that much
If you could
voice,
shut the mic
bro,
down.
listen,
Thank you. Are there any more public comments, Emery? Okay, we will close public comments. Thank you. And move on to council comments. Are there any council comments?
and understand. And that's something that we have been needing clarified for many years. So thank you for that. I also want to get everybody to remember together, everyone achieves more. And everybody have a great, great rest of your day.
Thank you, Councilman Dotson. Councilman Padilla?
Thank you. So, you know, what do you say, right? Because other than, you know, condolences and our hearts goes out to anybody that loses a loved one. You know, it's a very tough thing to have to go through. I mean, everybody handles that type of loss differently. And to think that we are, you know, we don't have any feelings, we don't understand. You know, we all have family, we've all lost loved ones, we all certainly, you know, feel for that. The four young people that lost their lives back on Park Avenue a year ago, and our condolences to their family, to their loved ones. To April Valentine and her family, again, our condolences. You know, I mean, you know, there's no words that any of us could say up here that would make it feel any better. I know that my understanding is there is legal action that's already taking place or contemplated, and because of that, folks don't want to make comments that would impact that or have any bearing on the legal action. But you know, again, our condolences to those families, and you know, it's tough. It's. I mean, I'm not even going to try to come up with any more words other than to say, you know, our thoughts and prayers for those families that lose anybody. That being said, I had an opportunity this morning to attend a funeral for one of our residents that lost his life to cancer. That darn C word, right? That takes so many lives away and impacts so many of us. So I would like to close in the memory as well of Ernest Blackman. Ernest, a longtime District 2 resident, a hell of a guy, and may he rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Dion Folk.
Yes, so I will highlight real quickly. I did attend the UNCF breakfast in honor of Dr. King. And so that was a great event. It was at the Proud Bird just outside of Inglewood. I feel like this is a very special event because they raise scholarship money for kids that are going off to college. And I did want to make sure that I was there to support that event. Also, in honor of Dr. King Day, I did attend the Los Angeles parade. That was a great opportunity too, to celebrate with our community just next door to the city of Inglewood and highlight the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. So I was happy to attend that as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. I, too, along with Councilman Padilla, am very saddened by the news. And so we do want the families to know that the city of Inglewood gives our condolences to these families and what they're going through, and we do care. And I would like to close in honor of several members of our community that have passed on. I want to highlight each and every one of them. First, I would like to highlight Jacqueline Hawthorne. She was a pillar in the community. She served for LA City Council Commission for Community and Family Services. She served on the NAACP board, the Congressional Council. She did a lot for our larger community. We like to remember her. Also, Eric Johnson. He was the owner of LA Business Printing. Yes, he recently passed, and he was a pillar in the community as well. He did a lot of services for the city of Inglewood. He had a great relationship with a lot of the employees here, so we'd like to make sure we honor him today. April Valentine, 31-year-old mom who passed away giving birth. I'd like to honor her, her memory. It's very sad. I wish the very best for that family, and I hope they get the answers that they're looking for. And then lastly, the kids who lost their lives in that short-term rental party on Park Avenue. It's horrible. It is horrible. And we do care. We want the community to know that we care. We're here. We're listening. We're paying attention. And we want to always lift up our community members. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And just to continue on this, somewhat very serious theme, we all receive such dire notice when things like this happen throughout the city, and we feel them all. We feel them all. We feel for the family. Today, the family of April Valentine that showed up, we definitely, feel your pain. Please receive our condolences. It's very difficult to come up with words, as Councilman Padilla said, to something that we may be able to do or not do. We are here as someone who can listen, and at times when we can be helpful, we try to be. It appears that some action has already begun, and so we have to let it, take its course. That being said, I know Councilwoman Falk has mentioned we close in April Valentine's honor as well, and I think it's a great idea that I know we all support. So with that, we will be closing for a number of members of our community. We will be closing in memory of Ernest Blackman, Jacqueline Hawthorne, Eric Johnson, April Valentine, and the four victims that were mentioned by the speaker having suffered their death during a short-term rental party. So we will close in their memory. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.